Welcome back. In this episode, we shall practice SQL by databasing this English Premier League table. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Juma Shafara, and I'm a data scientist at Raising the Village and instructor at Data Idea. And this year, I set out to help people become data scientists by covering data science concepts in a simple and intuitive way. So far, we've covered the Python basics. We've looked at Python libraries like pandas and matplotlib for data manipulation and visualization, respectively. We've also introduced ourselves to version control with Git and GitHub. And in this episode, we shall introduce ourselves to SQL. But what is SQL? SQL stands for Structured Query Language, and what it does is that it just lets you access and play around or manipulate databases. So what exactly can SQL do? SQL can execute queries against a database. Basically, you can retrieve data from a database, you can insert data, you can update, delete, create, and so on. These days, there is a debate of whether you should learn SQL and databasing all together. And from a data scientist, this is what I'll tell you. Certain type of people do not need to learn SQL, but if you want to become a data scientist, a data analyst, or anything related to data, surely you want to learn SQL and databasing. Also, if you want to be a web developer or a backend developer, you will need to learn and understand how databases work and how to use SQL to query databases. All right, so I don't want to waste so much time. Let's just jump in and get started. So before we get started, we need to create a database so that we can play around with it using SQL. Now, a database is an organized collection of data that is in such a way that retrieval, modification, and manipulation of the data is so efficient. Now, databases usually require a management system which offers tools for querying this database, tools like SQL that we shall learn today. And one database management system that I have learned that is very easy to use, okay, it doesn't require too much to set it up, is SQLite. And SQLite will basically set up our database and store it in a file on our local machine. Okay, so to get us started, I have Visual Studio Code open. Let me just increase the font so that you can all see well. And I have a Visual Studio Code open in a folder called SQL, and I will just create a database file. Okay, and I'll just use this little file icon here, and I'll do SQL. I call it db.sqlite, like this, SQLite 3. All right, so this one will become our database file, okay, and we don't have to edit it. What we need to do else is to create our query file, query script, okay. So the way we shall create that one is we can call it maybe EPL, English Premier League dot, let's say SQLite 3, and then we put this hyphen, and then we add query. So this is a file that we shall be using to query our database. And one thing you may need to have before you can follow this tutorial again properly is you need to add a particular extension. So I will click on extensions in VS Code, this little icon here. And what you want to search for is SQLite editor. So this SQLite editor, this one here, will just allow us to run our queries and play around with the database or visualize the database and stuff like that. All right, so I'll just install this one, and then we can progress. Okay, so I'll close this, and I'll go back to file viewer section. Okay, so this is what we have.
Alright, so what we want to do first is we want to create a connection to our database here that we'll be using. And what we shall do is we shall just add some little line, say hyphen hyphen database, then put some colon. And then after the colon, we want to put the path to the database just right here, okay? So, I can do that, but also as an option I can be able to just come here, I right click, okay, and then down here there is copy path, so I can just paste here the path, and once I paste we can see that we have some two options somewhere here. There is connect and open panel. So for now I just want to click connect, okay, and once that is done I want us to just jump in and also get started. So let's create some tables. Okay, so maybe let's begin with one table, the teams table. We want to create a table because databases are typically made up of tables, and rows in these tables make up the data. So we shall use the create keyword here, and the create keyword exists in SQL, and we shall use that one to create a table. So we shall say create table, and then we can select a table name. For this case I'll just use teams, okay, and then I can open brackets like this, and then here I can pass in some few things. One is I can pass in the columns. So I want to have a column for the team ID, and then I want to have a column for the team name, and finally I want to have a column for the town where this team sort of belongs. Okay, okay. Now, before we progress, we want to set some constraints in our table. This is the thing: to make a database efficient as its purpose, it's very, very important to add constant constraints to limit which kind of data goes into our database to ensure that the data is always clean. Alright, so we shall just come and set up some constraints. So for example, for team ID, we want to set that only integers will come here by adding this integer keyword like this. And then we also want to set this as the primary key.
Now, here's the thing: every table in a database needs to have a primary key, and a primary key is basically a column, okay, whose values can uniquely identify rows in that database. All right, so let's also add one other thing, is auto increment. And what this one will do is that it will just allow for auto incrementing the IDs. Okay, so in case we have a team already in database with the ID of 1, when we add another team, this team ID will automatically be incremented to 2. All right, the other thing we can do is we can make team name. Okay, we can add a constraint of text. Basically this will mean that um, texts are the one, this team names will be constituting of text data. Okay, and also we want this to be unique, so we can set a unique constraint like this. Then we can also set not null so that we don't have null values. Now notice I'm not inserting any comma to separate these constraints. I just use some spaces, okay, single spaces like this. This is sufficient. Finally, on town, we can set also a constraint. We shall have towns as text, and also maybe we don't want towns to be null, so we shall set not null. No, null in this context is just an empty value, and we don't want that. Okay, now our query for now to create a table looks like it's done. To wrap it up, we need to set some uh, semicolon like this, and then we can run by pressing shift enter, or we can click on this play button here, up here, and when we just click that, it creates for us a table. And in this table we have here three columns. We have team ID, we have team name, and we have town. All right, now inside this table, let's just add some values. Okay, one, we can add a team and their town. Okay, so to add a single value in this table, we can just say insert, and insert here is a keyword that we use to insert values in a table. So we shall say insert into, and then we specify the table, in this case teams. Okay, and we want to open brackets, and in these brackets we pass in the columns whose values we are going to pass into the table. So we want to pass for team name, and also we can put a comma, and then for town. Now I'm not inserting again ID because ID will be automatically set for us once we insert in a value. So I will say also values. So after these brackets I will add values, and then I can add in brackets the team name, Liverpool in this case, so Liverpool FC, and then I can put a comma, and then the town where this club belongs. So this one can be like Liverpool. Now I'm using quotes here, single quotes, to mean that this is text. Okay. All right. I think this is okay for now. We can just run this, and then we see what happens. So I'll just click execute, and yep, that creates for us this value. Okay, and if I just increase here, we see that ID has been automatically created for us as one. The team name is Liverpool FC, and we can see the town is Liverpool. Really simple. Okay, so right now we just inserted one single value, but you may be wondering to yourself, what about if I wanted to insert very many values, okay, at once? The way you can do that is, I'll just copy this for simplicity. Okay, and I will copy this and put a comma here instead, and then I'll do this. Now if you want to insert very many rows at once, okay, you can do what I've just done. Instead of just having a single bracket containing the data that we want to insert, you can have very many brackets here separated by commas. Okay, so now we already inserted Liverpool, so we can add in Arsenal, and then Arsenal is in London, and then we can also add um, Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest FC, and Nottingham Forest is in Nottingham. And then we can add Newcastle. Okay, I'll keep them short, so add Newcastle, and Newcastle is in, I think, Newcastle also. And okay, we'll wrap up with Chelsea. Okay, and then we'll see that I think Chelsea is in London. Okay, so this is how we can insert very many values, and we can put a semicolon here to end our statement. So I'll just run this, and yeah, this one automatically adds the other clubs into the table. So this is very simple. This is how you can add um, very many rows into your database. Okay, the other thing we want to do is maybe let's create another table for standings, and in this table we shall put in some values for the team's standings. All right, so I'll do this really fast because I've already illustrated how to create a table. So I'll create this table by saying create table, and I'll call this one standings, and again you have to open brackets, And what we'll do is that we shall have the team ID, and this one we want it to be an integer, and we want it to be our primary key. Okay, again, primary key uniquely identifies the values, the rows in a table. We also want to have the matches played, and matches played also will be integer and also not null. Okay, and for the other ones, I'll just copy this and I paste right here. So I'll have for the wins, okay, also will be integers. Then I'll have for the draws. Then I'll also have for the losses. Then I'll have for the goals for, okay. And then I will have for the goals against, and then the goals, the goal difference basically. Then finally, let's wrap up with the points. Okay, so okay, I think I'll just write this one in. Okay, I'll just keep it points like this. No problem. All right, this is okay. Now, before we create our table standings, we want to put a relationship between this table and this table for standings and this teams table. This is why in this table we are only putting the team ID, okay, and the hope is that we can be able to identify this team, the team with these points, okay, by the team ID. And if a team ID here is 1, it means that that team is team 1 in the teams table. Okay, so to create that little connection, we shall use what we call a foreign key. So we shall say foreign key, okay, and we open brackets. In these brackets, we insert the column in this table that we want to set as our foreign key, the one that will be referencing the teams table. So we'll set team ID, okay, and then we shall also add some word here, references, okay, and then we shall set team and then team ID. So what this one is saying is that team ID in the standings table is referencing the team ID in the teams table. Okay, so yeah, this is how we can create this association between this table and the other table. Okay, so let's also add some few values in this table. Okay, um, we'll do insert into, and insert into standings, like just how we did here with insert into teams table. Here we are doing insert into standings, and we get this little warning because we didn't add a semicolon to confirm the end of this statement. So we want to do insert into standings, okay, and we open brackets, and these brackets we specify the columns um, for which we are inserting the values. So we shall have the team ID, okay, then we shall have matches played, we shall have wins, draws, losses, goals for, then the goals attained, the goal difference, and also finally the points. All right, these are all the values that we shall insert, and then we shall as we did here, we shall save values, okay, and we shall go down to the next line. Maybe let me close this one so that we can see everything well. And so I'll pass in the values. So I said for team ID 1, okay, I want to insert in the matches played as 20, and the wins are 14, and the draws are 5, one loss, then 48 goals, 4 for Liverpool for team 1, and then they've conceded 20 goals, and they have a total goal difference of 28, okay, 48 minus 20, okay, and then finally they have the total points as 47, okay, like this. Alright, so I can just insert in this, or I can insert many, okay, by just putting a comma, and then I'll insert for the first 5 teams. So I'll just do this for the first 5 teams. I'll do ID2.
Yeah, so here is all the 5 teams, the first 5 teams. And yeah, so if I just execute this script, we can see that in our table we have the first 5 teams. The data has been passed in. Okay, so maybe.
Alright, so far we've learned how to create tables and insert values into those tables. Let's also learn how to select values from a table in a database. So we can select a column by doing select. Select is a keyword in SQL that we use to select values. So I'll just select maybe team name, okay, from teams. So I'm selecting the team name column from the teams table. Running this will select the team name column, as you can see, from the teams table. If I wanted to select very many columns, okay, I can just use a comma. So I'll just come here and I add a comma, and then I set town, okay, like that. And if I run this, it selects out the team name and the town from the teams table. Okay, if I wanted to select everything, I can just use select asterisk from teams. Okay, so running this will select every column in the teams table. As you can see here, we have the team ID now, the team name, and the town. Okay, so it's very easy to select data like that. Now let's also look at how to modify. If I realize, for example, Arsenal FC here, Arsenal rather doesn't have FC, but it completes as Arsenal FC. I can modify this. Okay, so the way I can do that is I can say update. Okay, update teams. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to set okay team name to be Arsenal FC. Okay, and I'll say where is a condition, where is a keyword that we use to execute a statement for a given condition. So I want to set the team name to be Arsenal, where the team name is just Arsenal. I want to set the team name to be Arsenal FC, where the team name was just Arsenal. So let me just put a semicolon and I execute this. Now we can see that our table has been updated, and Arsenal, instead of just being Arsenal, it's Arsenal FC. So now what about if I wanted to delete a particular team from my table? Okay, so I can go ahead and say delete from. Now let me delete from the standings table. So I'll say delete from standings, and I'll say where. Okay, uh, team ID. Okay, maybe team ID is equal to maybe I'll pick 4. Oh yeah, so this one is for Chelsea, I think. So if I just run this, it executes this particular command, and if I just query, so I'll just come up here and okay, let me just query from here. So if I just do now select everything from from the standings table, okay. Oh, again, let's not forget to put colons, semicolons. So now if I do select everything from the standings table, we can see that the team with ID 4 is somewhat missing now. All right, I may also be interested in selecting only teams that come from London. Okay, and the way I can do that is I can say select. Maybe let's just say select everything from teams, okay, and then I can use where. Remember where is a keyword that we can use to select only values that satisfy a particular condition. So I'll say where the town is equal to London. Okay, now if I just run this particular query, again, let's not forget this semicolon. Now, if I run this query, see, I get only teams that are coming from London. So there is only Arsenal and Chelsea for now. Okay, so these are the ones. Okay, now what about if I wanted to sort my values? Okay, I sort the result in ascending or descending order. The way I can do that is I can say select. Okay, I say select everything from maybe standings, because I'm using standings because they have some numbers. So I'll say select everything from standings, and then what I will do is that after selecting, I'll say order by, and then I order by, for example, points. So when I run this query, we'll see that the result is we have all the teams and the ordering here is this. So we have reordered them by points, with the team with the lowest points on top and the team with the highest points bottom. Now you may want to have the team with the highest points on top and the team with the lowest points at the bottom, and the way you can do that is you can just add here some keyword. Okay, some keyword like descending, if I can remember well. So you can do this like this. Now if I run this, see, now we have reorganized now from the best performing team with 47 to the lowest performing team. Okay, that is Liverpool up and Chelsea at the bottom. Okay, so this is it. Now in the next part, we want to see how about if we want to apply several conditions. Okay, maybe we want to pick out in the teams table. We want to pick out in the teams table only teams that uh, have that come from London, and maybe also start with letter A in their name. Okay, the way we can do that is we can just say select. So I'll copy this part first of all, this part that selects from London. So I'll say select where town is equal to London, and then we can use and. Okay, this and is a keyword that we can use to apply very many conditions. So we say and and maybe the team name, okay, we can add like to mean includes. Okay, in this case I want to check the team name starts with, so to start with I will just use this quote, and then I can say C and percentage. So this would mean I want to select all the teams that come from London and they start with letter C. So if I run this, we can see that only Chelsea has been returned. Okay, really simple like that. Okay, so what about if I wanted to pick only teams that satisfy either one of two conditions? I can use all. So I'll say in this example, say select everything from uh, from teams. Okay, and here the condition will be where, say the town is, okay, either London or, so where the town is either London, or you can say the town is uh, let's say Liverpool. Okay, so if I run this, I get all teams that are from London and Liverpool. Okay, now this is okay, but if you have very many conditions, maybe towns that you want to check for, you can also do this. Okay, let me just say, you can say select everything from teams. Okay, and then you say where, and now instead of saying town London or Liverpool, you can say for town, where town in, okay, in, and then you open some brackets and then you can pass in like London, and then you can also pass in maybe like Liverpool. Okay, this one will do the same job, so but it looks more efficient. Okay, so if we just run this one again, we get the same result. Okay, so this is good. Now in the final part of this meeting, let's look at some aggregators. Okay, so what we'll do is we want to see how to find the minimum value, the maximum value, the count, and so on and so forth. So all right, what about if I wanted to get the smallest points in our standings table? I can do that by saying select, okay, min, and here I'll pass in points, okay, and then I say from our standings, okay, and if I just run this, okay, this one will return us 37. Now 37, if we checked carefully, it is the smallest number of points in our table. So this is okay. But what about if I wanted to find the club, okay, whose points are these really small points? So I can say maybe select uh, everything maybe from, I can say select everything from standings, okay, and I say where the points, okay, are equal to, and I can put this condition in these brackets. So this condition will basically run, okay, and return the smallest points, and then we'll select from standings where the points are equal to those smallest points. Now if I run this command, you see that we return that team Chelsea, which has those small points. All right, that is really good. Now let's continue by checking out for maximum. So to check the maximum points, I can just do something similar. Okay, instead of min, I'll just do max. Okay, and if we run this, we can see the maximum points, they are 47. All right, say if I want to count the number of rows in a particular table, okay, so I can just do select count. So I'll do select count, and I can open brackets, okay, and I can pass in maybe asterisk, okay. So this one will count all rows, okay, from the standings or teams table. So for now, I'll just do teams, okay. And if I just run this, we can see 4. So the total number of rows or teams in the teams table is 4. I can also count where the teams come from, London, okay, by doing something like this. So I'll say select count, and I will do count everything from teams, okay, and then I'll say where the town, okay, is, say London. All right, so when I run this, it will count all teams that are coming from London. So if I run that, we see 2, and yeah, there are only 2 teams that are coming from London. If I wanted to get the average points in the table, okay, in the league, okay, here I have only like 4 teams, so yeah, but if I wanted to get the average, I'll just do select, and then I say, sorry, I say select, then I say average, okay, average, I say average points, so I'll do average points, okay, from standings, okay, sorry, standings like this. So if I run this, it gets the average points from standings, and the average points so far is 42. So for the top 4 teams, the average number of points is 42. Okay, I can see all teams that are above average, okay, by doing something like this. I can just say select all from standings, and then I add a condition. I say where, okay, points are greater than, and I open brackets, than, and then I select average points from standings. Okay, now if I run this, if I run this, we can see Liverpool and Arsenal are the ones. Yeah, we have only Liverpool and Arsenal as the teams that have points above average in the top four. All right. So this is really, really nice and simple. All right. Maybe before we close out, I want to talk about one thing. How do we delete a table from our database? So I can just say drop, and I can say drop table, and here I will pass in the table name. Okay, so the table like standings. All right, so this one will drop the standings table, and so the statement has been executed successfully. The standings table is out, so no such table as standings if we try to drop again.
Alright, so I want to wrap up this first part of this tutorial. I just want you to know that the best way you can master these concepts is by practicing on your own. The link to the materials is in the description, and in the next part we shall look at joins. Okay, so joins will allow us to query data from different tables and put it together. But as for now, I just want to thank you for watching if you reached this end, and I want to wish you good luck in your data science journey. And I just want to say bye for now.